So continuing on our forum series in GoRails, we're going to talk about using the nested attributes in your forms so that you can create multiple records at the same time and they'll automatically be associated. So that's what we're going to do today. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a forum thread that also has a forum post in the form. And when you submit that, it will create both records, and you'll be able to create the subject for the thread and the body post all at once. So the first thing you need to do is, of course, set up your forum thread in your controller. So you want to create a new one, but you also want to create a forum post for this thread. So we'll create both of those in memory and have that one associated with it. And this is used so that the fields for in your new action can actually render the forum post attributes. So let's dive into our form now. So inside our form for the forum thread, we can see that we have just the standard form for. We also have a regular text field and a submit button, and that's about it. And if we open this in our browser, we can see that you get the subject field and the create button, and that's all there is to it. Now, if we want to actually create a fields for the nested attributes, we can do f.fields_for, and we pass in a symbol in this case for the object that we want. So we want fields for the forum posts, and this is going to be given a block. And the reason why you want to save this variable as p is so that it's different than the parent. Now, the way that this works is that the p variable knows that the parent is a forum thread, and it knows that the child is going to be of a forum post type. So then that is going to create the proper names in our text fields, so long as we use something like p.textfield. So if you use p.textfield, it will actually use the forum thread and the forum post in the name of the field and submit it across appropriately to Rails. So we actually want to create a div class of forum group. And inside of here, we want to create a p.text area for the body attribute on a forum post. And let's just give it a little placeholder, add a comment. And let's set the rows to 10 and give it a class of form control. So this is actually going to render now because of the forum post that we created in memory, and it will display the body text area for us. So now if we refresh this page, we'll see the body and the subject, and we'll be able to submit these once we update the controller's create action to handle this appropriately. So let's dive into that now. Now there are a handful of things we need to do in our controller and model to actually make that form submit data correctly to Rails. So the first thing, of course, you need to create the thread, and we're going to use actually the current user forum threads association to create that new thread. And the reason we'll do that is because this will automatically assign the user ID on that new thread. And as you would expect with strong params, we want to make a forum thread params method, and we'll put that down here. And it's going to have params.require forum thread and permit the subject. But we also want to accept the forum posts attributes, and we can do that just by saying forum posts attributes. And we want to actually make this a symbol that points to an array of attributes on that object. So we want to accept the body on a forum post when it gets submitted inside of a forum thread. Now this works to assign it. However, we actually need to tell the model that, hey, you can allow forum post attributes. So if we go into our forum thread.rb, we can add an accepts nested attributes for, and you pass in the symbol for the same name as your association. So in this case, forum posts. And the other thing that we want to make sure happens is that validations will run on forum threads when we save it, but we also want validations to run on all of the nested forum posts as well. So you can pass in a validates associated, and you give it that same forum posts association name. So that will make sure that the assignment of attributes works to create them on nested models, as well as running the validations on the nested models. So if we go back to the forum threads controller, we can do the typical @forum thread .save, and we'll redirect to the forum thread. Otherwise, we'll render the action of new. So one last thing before we move on from here is that we want to make sure that these forum threads are assigned. So we made sure that they're assigned the user ID, but we want to also make sure the forum posts underneath it are assigned the user ID as well. So we have the forum post. We have that first forum post, and that one is created because of this, and we should only have one. And the form will take all of those that we create here and display them. So we only have one, and that means that we can set the user ID equal to the current user's ID. And that should automatically set that, and we don't ever want that to be passed in as a parameter in the field or in the form, because then you could impersonate someone else if you edit the HTML. So we want to make sure that these two lines hard code that user ID, and that you could never change that from editing the HTML in the field. So now if we create a new thread in our application, I'm just going to call on GoRails forum series. I can't wait to record a bunch of these screencasts. And if we create this forum thread, you can see that the thread subject got populated, the user ID got populated, so we can pull out the user, and then each post is displayed and the user got assigned as well. And that means that we got the forum thread to create and the forum post, and we assign the user IDs all in one big swoop. So if we come back to the home page here and click on new thread, you can actually play with how all of this works in Rails by just deleting this new post in your new action. And if you refresh the page, the body goes away. So the fields for is actually looking at these associated models in memory that we created here, and that determines how the form gets rendered, and then all of those get posted, and Rails parses this, and so on. So you can actually go through a whole lot of this and play around with it, and you can make duplicates here, and you can see that there's 2 comments now, and fiddle with this, because then that way you can create something like a to-do list. And a gem like Cocoon actually does this very similarly, where it keeps track of the HTML that you generate and then allows you to just duplicate it with JavaScript and then submit like a question and multiple answers all at once in one form. So you can add a whole bunch of dynamic capabilities to this just by playing with some of the functionality that Rails naturally works with. So this is really, really neat, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. So next episode, we're going to talk about using the div4 method to highlight and automatically scroll people down to a section of the page. So as you could see here, when we loaded this, it automatically highlighted this post as the new post on this page and then scrolled you down automatically. So we'll talk about that and how it's useful next episode, and I will see you next week.